Police are appealing for calm this lunchtime as shoppers have been scuffling as they descend on the shops for Black Friday bargains. Let's just show you what happened at an Asda store as it opened in London this morning. 3 people have been arrested around the country as some of the shoppers get out of control. The sales are an American invention to tie in with the Thanksgiving holiday, but they've become increasingly popular on this side of the pond as well. So let's talk about Black Friday a bit further. Does it represent bargains for consumers and a bumper day for retailers, or is it a bit of American consumerism gone mad? Well, I'm joined by the England rugby player Ben Foden. He's leading a campaign to get people to make this year's Christmas presents instead of buying them. And we can also talk to Kate Andrews from the Adam Smith Institute. She reckons that Black Friday's great for the economy. So let's, Ben Foden, to you first of all. I don't know if you've seen any of the pictures, but there have been some extraordinary scuffles and extraordinary scenes up and down the country as people fight for their bargains. What did you make of them?
Well, obviously a little bit of madness, really. Obviously, when you see 30% off, 40% off, you obviously want to get down to the shops and make the most of it. But I think it needs to be done in a much calmer and a much more effective fashion. But that's the problem when you have these sort of deals, that these crazes are going to happen and people are going to turn up in the hundreds and the shops can't really deal with them. The security especially can't deal with them.
Well, yes, Kate Andrews, I mean, tell us a little bit about how this works in America. Do they have scenes like this on Black Friday there?
They do, but I think we're a little more used to it. We've had this tradition in my country for decades now. And unlike the Brits who can get excited about Christmas right after Halloween, we have to at least pretend to wait until after Thanksgiving. So traditionally, it's a really fun day where families can get together early in the morning and head down and go to the shops and buy Christmas gifts and spend time together. But I think the most important thing to point out is that besides issues with crowd control, which are an issue but can come up in any scenario with a crowd, this tradition allows us to go down to the shops and purchase gifts that a lot of people wouldn't otherwise be able to afford.
Well, yes, and Ben Foden, that's a kind of an important point, isn't it? For a lot of people, this is their one way of getting the presents for their loved ones that they might not be able to afford otherwise.
Precisely. We live in a digital age where electronics and TVs are incredibly expensive, and a lot of people aren't able to buy these things with the paycheck that they're getting home. But on Black Friday, people are giving discounts up to 70%, and it allows them to get these products into their homes that they wouldn't otherwise have.
Ben Foden, would you agree with that? I mean, ignoring the scenes that we're seeing now, in theory, do you think it's a good idea?
It has its positive side, but also has its negative sides as well. I think that, obviously, with Christmas, people always sort of set themselves a budget anyway, and they go out and spend it. So whether they're discounted or not, they're still going to spend up to that budget, and they might spend the rest of the next year paying off a credit card or a loan they've got to pay for that Christmas. And it's all about, managing that. I think it's a great, like Katie said, it's a great way of letting people buy these expensive gifts, but at the same time, with technology nowadays, these things become irrelevant. They sort of, iPhone 5, iPhone 6, the iPhone S, iPads, iPad minis, they're always updating, and within 6 months. So that's why the Works campaign that I'm involved with, the DIY Christmas, where you build something that can be passed from generation to generation, a doll's house that can live in a family and be a children's present.
Which sounds fantastic, but I don't know how many people have time or ability to build a doll's house, for example. I mean, there are practical issues with that, aren't there?
Yeah, obviously, but that's the great thing, that Works have a website and Facebook. You can go on there and see Garden DIY Christmas campaign, and you go on there and it's a step-by-step process on helping you build these sort of things. Obviously, time is something that, you can find half an hour here and there to disappear to your garage, your garden shed, and I think that was what makes it so special as well. That the time and effort that you put into it yourself makes it so much greater when you give the gift to your child, or the smile from your wife's face when you give them this gift that can be shared by the whole family. It doesn't have to be just shared by your child. I think that you can enjoy it all as a family, and the great thing with the dollhouse, when I gave it to Aoife just before this Christmas, is that Una went out and bought the inside furniture for it, and we're going to paint it together as a family, and the happiness that I get to watch my daughter play in this doll's house that I've made from scratch is a beautiful thing.
Kate Andrews, that does sound like a very refreshing alternative, doesn't it, to pushing and shoving in a shop and spending loads of money?
Oh, absolutely, and I'm all for sentiment. We have to remember what the holiday season is about, and fundamentally, it's about spending time with your family and remembering what you're grateful for. But I don't think we can so easily put aside the fact that if things like Black Friday didn't exist, things that people genuinely need in this day and age, they wouldn't be able to get their hands on. Sentiment is great, and we should be focused on hand-making gifts when we can, hand-making cards when we can, but at the end of the day, the kids still need clothes, the kids still need computers these days, and it's a great opportunity for people who wouldn't otherwise be able to have these products, get them into their homes. And this is how the market works. You know, businesses, Apple, they create the iPhone 6, they create the iPhone 7, and at the top. But then you have days like Black Friday where those very expensive products can get into the hands of the masses. And this is a great thing. This is what allows technology to grow and demand to grow, and for people to get better technology and better products into their home.
OK, well, Kate Andrews and Ben Foden, it feels a bit early to wish you a happy Christmas, but thanks very much indeed for chatting to us about it anyway.
Cheers.
Let's go back now to our top story and a big speech on immigration that David Cameron has made, in which he suggested that the UK could leave the EU, saying he would rule nothing out if other European countries ignored British concerns. He wants the EU to agree to his plans for new curbs on people coming to the UK from European countries.
Someone coming to the UK from elsewhere in Europe, who's employed on the minimum wage and who has 2 children back in their home country, they today will receive around £700 per month in benefits in the UK. That is more than twice what they'd receive in Germany and 3 times more than they would receive in France. No wonder so many people want to come to Britain. These tax credits and other welfare payments are a big financial incentive, and we know that over 400,000 EU migrants take advantage of them. This has got to change. So I would insist that in the future, those who want to claim tax credits and child benefit must live here and contribute to our country for a minimum of 4 years. If their child is living abroad, then there should be no child benefit or no tax credit at all, no matter how long they've worked in the UK and no matter how much tax they've paid. And we'll introduce a new residency requirement for social housing, meaning that you can't even be considered for a council house unless you've been here, again, for at least 4 years.
Well, let's get a reaction now from the Shadow Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, who joins me now live. Yvette Cooper, good afternoon to you.